morning, Flosstube. Today is Monday, June 24th. Yes, June 24th, 2024. Welcome back. I am Jenny. This is my Flosstube Stitching Jenny. And I'm excited to be back. It's only been 3 weeks, guys. So I'm actually on time. Miracles can and do happen. I have been away. We went to Bryce Canyon National Park here in Utah and spent a few days there, like two nights, 3 days, and it was a lot of fun. We did that at the beginning of the month and it was fantastic. It's a beautiful national park. I will insert some pictures of it either here or at the end. But just the contrast of that red rock against the vibrant green of those, I think they're Douglas fir trees, is just amazing. And I've been to Zion's, Bryce, and then I went to Arches when I was in high school, like young high school, like maybe 14, 15 years old. So I don't remember that super well, but if I had to pick, I would probably say Bryce is my favorite of the three. And I don't know if that's just because it's less crowded and the contrast is so distinct between that red rock and the green. But there's definitely more to do in Zion's if you're looking to kind of just hit it all at once. Zion's definitely has more, but Bryce Canyon, it's easily done in 2-3 days. You could even do it in one day. If I know there's what is it? Is it Capitol Reef National Park there? And then Zion's and Bryce, they're all kind of within a few hours driving distance of each other. And you can even kind of hit Arches too. So if you're trying to hit all of them, Bryce, you could definitely do in a day and hit the main ones. I liked going for 2 days, couple of nights actually, because we were able to go during, just lucked out that it was during the it's a night sky national park, so there's not any street lights and things like that within the park, and they had an actual event that week that we were there. Our last night was the first night of this space astronomy event that they had, and so we were able to go and wait in line. It was a much longer line than we had anticipated, but we waited in line and we were able to go see a bunch of different astronomers. Some professional and some hobbyists had telescopes that they had pointing at different things. Some were stars, some were just lots of different things that you could look at in those telescopes, and they would tell you about it. And so we were able to experience that, go on a couple of really beautiful hikes. We went through a section that's kind of called like the mini Narrows. The Narrows is a slot canyon in Zion's National Park that has a river that runs through it, and you're basically in the river majority of the hike. And you can take even a couple of days and kind of camp and hike with certain permits and things like that all the way up the Narrows. I am not a slot canyon fan. I am very, very, very claustrophobic. And so the last time we went to Bryce, this is our second visit to Bryce Canyon, we went on a slot canyon hike and I stayed in the car. I just cross-stitched and waited for them because I'm too claustrophobic. I can't handle it. But this was wide enough that it felt like a large hallway majority of the time. And so I felt like it was beautiful and very easy. I will definitely add pictures. And there was a tiny, like, little river stream that went through it, and it was really fun to be able to kind of walk in that. And especially coming back, it was kind of starting to get really warm on our way back, so it was beautiful. I cross stitched the whole way down and most of the way up, so I'll show you kind of what I was working on. But that was like our big trip, our big family trip that we've done. And then we will go camping this week. We're going up and camping up in the mountains right here in Utah, northern Utah. It's just like the entry to the canyon is like 12 minutes from my house. So it's like the closest canyon hiking camping area that you can get to, but we're at the very, very top. It's beautiful up there. Nice and cool, which we need. Let's get into what I've worked on. So I mentioned that we went down to Bryce Canyon, and while I was in the hotel, I cross-stitched. My kids went swimming at the hotel pool, and so I was stitching there, and in the evenings I stitched some. Anyway, so I worked on Welcome by Cherry Hill Stitchery. Yeah, I said that right. Yeah, Cherry Hill Stitchery. And this is for the hashtag It Be Tuesday sale that Java Girl Stitches, Christy and Anna Wrote are hosting, and I love them both. Anna and I have been friends for ages online, and we actually got to meet in person in the fall. And Christy, I've watched Christy forever, pretty much since I first started cross stitching. I'd watch her off and on. She had a great bow tutorial that I used, and kind of just started watching her since then. But as part of that It Be Tuesday sale, we were traveling on Tuesday, and so I definitely had to bring this piece. This is stitched on 28 count natural raw linen. And it's a finish. So I know exactly what I'm going to do with this. I just have to be able to talk my husband into giving me back my finishing piece. He had gotten it as, it's like a planter pot thing that his boss had sent him a plant in back during COVID. And I was like, ooh, I want that. I know exactly what I want that for. And he was like, okay, you can have it. So it's kind of roamed like into the garage, and now it's living under the sink, and it's helping prop up the pipes in under our sink because one of the pipes got cut kind of short, and so sometimes it slides out and then all the water comes out, which is not fun, and it's a big mess. So he's fixed it, but just in case, he has a bucket, and then he has that finishing piece on top of it. So I need to talk to him. I was like, can I get that back, please? And he's like, maybe. I'm like, no. Seriously, I need that back. So we'll see who wins. I think I just need to find something else that fits there perfectly. But this is stitched with all the called for floss. Other than the black, I changed it to what is it? Cast iron skillet. I think it's a Gentle Arts floss. I thought it would have more variegation in it. It didn't. I thought you'd see it more. You don't. But it was fun to stitch. So there's that. So that's a finish. And I have my cute little bee needle minder. It will go live on a new bee piece. Then I had a couple of new starts. I mentioned that my younger sister is expecting a baby, a little girl, in October. So I asked her to pick out a sampler that I can stitch over the summer, so then when things get crazy in the fall, I can just add her name and her birth information and just send it. While I was looking, she had decided she wanted an animal theme, so I sent her a couple of animal themed ones, and she picked an ocean piece. And the ocean piece actually has a couple of well, it has like 8 smaller pieces that you can purchase either individually or as a group. And so I asked her, would you be interested in having me stitch 2 of these to go on like either side of the sampler to kind of make it like a little finishing wall? And she said, yes, please. And so we talked about fabric. I dyed some fabric, which I showed you in the last video. So her birthday is June 7th. So on June 7th, on her birthday, I started the first small piece. She's having a baby shower. She's coming, she lives in Canada. She's coming to visit family this weekend. Actually, she flies in. So I'm gonna stitch one of these small pieces so that it can be ready for the baby shower is my goal. So I've got, I think I counted 17 days. I think I can do it. So this one is Curious Jellyfish. And it looks like this. And so I am leaving off the word at the bottom, and the jellyfish is all done other than the back stitching. There's the little tentacles of the back stitching. I was missing one of the flosses, so I had to go buy some. It's like a light yellow that I didn't have. And then so I am working on the, I guess, seaweed and coral that go up the side to make the wreath around it. So this is a really fun stitch. It would be further along, except I've been dealing with really bad headaches that have been borderline migraine. One, actually, when I was working on this last, it turned into a full-on migraine because I decided I was going to stitch anyway, and it was not great. I am holding a lot of tension in my shoulders. I've been working out, and so a lot of that tension in my shoulders is starting to build up and creating tension headaches and giving me migraines. So I wasn't able to stitch on it as long as I wanted to, but I think I'm going to take this one camping with us and work on it while I'm there. If I do that though, I need to cut down the fabric and make it a little more movable, you know? That's my cute little seahorse needle minder. It's from like a company that did clay pieces more for hair, and then I just ordered it and put a magnet on it, and it's so cute. I love him, or her. I think I'll say her because she's got flowers in her hair. Not that seahorses have hair, but you know what I mean. And that was on a 32 count Lugana that I dyed myself. I think that one turned out really good. I'm really excited about how that one turned out. My next new start is the Arctic Animal Cell by the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. And I'm almost done with the second clue. So this was started on my oldest daughter's 20th birthday. She turned 20 on June 8th. And this is for her. She is a biology education major, and she loves animals. She's currently working at an aquarium. She's also working at a butterfly biosphere that is basically like a museum about butterflies and bugs. And she is loving it. And she's an educator there currently. So it'll be perfect to help her with her job. Anyway, so I dyed this fabric. It was a pain. It was not turning out how I wanted it to. I kept redyeing it, redyeing it, redyeing it. So it's finally, in fact, I'm going to take this upper piece off so that you can see what the upper part looks like. But I stitched all of the first clue and finished it the night before second clue was released. The second clue is released and I've got most of it finished. So that is where I'm at. This walrus is so adorable. But this is what the fabric looks like. So we know that the top will be some aurora borealis and some stars. And so my daughter asked that I throw in some greens and purples at the top to reflect that aurora borealis. And so you can kind of pick up, here's some of that purple and some of the greens. And then it goes down into that teal water section. Mr. Walrus might be my favorite part. We have seen there will be a narwhal and there will be puffins and what looks like a polar bear. We've seen the edge of what looks like a polar bear next to the narwhal. And those were in some sneak peeks that they have done either on a video or in their like newsletter. So far, Mr. Walrus is my favorite. So that's that. This needle minder my daughter made at work. When she's at school, she works in kind of the engineering building and kind of their maker space. So there's that one. This one is 36 count. That's a story. I don't love 36 count fabric. Well, let me tell you why. I like really full coverage. 36 counts, I feel like one thread is too little, but two threads can sometimes be too squishy. So I stitched this entire Arctic fox. This is an Arctic fox. These are voles. And Mr. Walrus, he still needs his smile, like his lips and his whiskers, but I haven't backstitched those yet. I stitched the entire white of this Arctic fox. And then I started stitching some of the accent color. And I stitched the accent color in 2 strands. I stitched the white in 1 strand. And I wasn't liking the white with 1 strand. So I asked my daughter's opinion. She agreed that she liked the 2 strand look better. So I ripped out this entire fox and restitched it with 2 strands. So I could be done if I just hadn't ripped that out. All I have left is the rest of his rock that he's sitting on, his lip and whiskers, and then this like water line continues across. So he's sitting on a rock with a little bit of water, at least what I'm assuming is water. So there's Arctic animals. Now on to my works in progress. These are things that I've already started. This first one is called Peace Tree, and this is what it will look like. And I am stitching this on 28 count Monaco. That's the word. So this is what I have. And I added in these bottom loops. So basically what I have is kind of a J-shaped loop here and here. And technically there's a tree stand. I think what I'm going to do is I'm thinking I'm going to finish it in a triangular shape, like Helen D did with one of her, she's kind of been doing these Christmas tree finishes, and use a wood, it's like a place card piece or like a picture holder, and it's got like bark on the outside. So I think what I'm going to do is finish it with that. And so if I do that, I don't need that stand. And I think that's what I'm going to do. This is a gift for my sister-in-law. When her grandmother passed away, she asked me if I wanted some of the floss that they had found at her home, and I said yes please, I would love that. So this is stitched with that floss, or one of the flosses. It's a Coates and Clark number 189 variegated, and my sister-in-law loves the color green, and so I thought I would make her like a little ornament that she could like think of her grandmother when she sees it. So that's what this is from. And I got the pattern from Just Cross Stitch magazine. I have the computer disc that has a bunch of the old Just Cross Stitch Christmas issues. So that's what that is from. Next, the story. Okay, guys. I cannot begin to tell you my frustrations. Okay, this is Winter Expanse. It is a kit from Studia. It looks like this. I am working on this piece. This one over here, the sunset one. I've been working on this piece. It's been my travel piece for a year. For a year. I've been working on it off and on, and I thought, hey, I have a 3-hour drive. 3-hour drive. It'll be perfect for this 3-hour drive because it's nice and big. Because it's on the plastic canvas. So like that. Nice big holes. I will totally take this. Okay. Stitched it the whole 3 hours down. Stitched on it a couple of, maybe an hour or two in the hotel one of the nights because my husband was still working on some emails and things, and my girls were starting to kind of wind down and go to bed, so we had the lights kind of down lower, so I needed something that I could see easily. So I worked on it for a little bit in the hotel. I worked on it for a couple of the hours back. Not all of it because it was a windy road back. We took the scenic byway back. Beautiful. Added an extra 3 hours. So what was a 3-hour drive became a 6-hour drive. It was pretty. Would I recommend it? Would I do it again? Probably not. In the middle of this drive, 6-hour drive home, like I'm sitting and I'm looking at this piece, guys. And I'm like, this seems wrong. There is something going on. What is going on with this piece? Because these trees in this picture, they look green. And the number is not green, it's a brown. And I'm like, well, maybe it's the lighting, right? Sometimes things don't look like how they do. So I stitched the trees. And then I'm stitching this pinky red part. And I'm like, I don't remember the sun setting around the trees. But, you know, I don't have the cover with me. I just have my working copy. And I'm just like, okay, no, I'm just plugging away. I go to pick another color. These are my flosses. I'm supposed to use floss number 15. There's no floss 15. My floss only goes to 13. All this time, I'm stitching it with the wrong floss. Let me show you how far I am. I should have known when I was on this yellow in the airport the first day I started it. I have never had one of their kits not have extra floss, and I ran out of floss. I had to try to color match it. Luckily, I found a match and I finished later, but I should have known. I should have known something was wrong. I've stitched majority of this pattern, and I don't know how many of it's the wrong colors. What I'm hoping are all the whites and blues are at least the same, and that the brown, or actually no, I haven't done the house. I'm hoping the whites and the blues are the same. Do I think they are? No, because the contrast seems more stark in the sky and in the ground than what I have. So feeling really frustrated and almost in tears, I finally have gotten a hold of Studia, found an email address, emailed them asking if there was a DMC, like the DMC numbers for those, and they said that they use a different kind of floss called Gamma floss for their kits, so there is no DMC conversion. So what they said they would do is they would send me the correct floss. So I'm currently waiting on that. They sent me a shipping. It is currently in New York in customs. So when that comes, we will reassess. I want to cry. Like, really, at this point, it might just be easier to just throw it away and start over. Oh, and there's a needle on the back. I should probably take that off. So anyway, that's my drama. That's my drama. I really want to just like check. I wanted to check it out the window. I was so upset. I put it all away and was just done on the ride home. And my kids are sitting bickering in the back seat because, you know, 6 hours close confines in a car, because my husband wanted to take his new car, not our van. And so they're like this next to each other, like smack next to each other, 3 kids in a back seat. Yeah, it was a little rough on the way home. My next piece that I've worked on is called Liberty Pennies by Hands On Design. And this has been a really quick stitch, actually. I've really enjoyed it. It has gone super, super fast. This is stitched on 32 count chalkboard by Zweigert. And that's where I'm at. I worked a ton on this on Flag Day. I added in the flag and these flowers down here. And anyway, finished like the house, the starfish. I think I put in these white pieces. And then yesterday I worked on it again and put in the rest of these. I got like I'd had the red part in, so I filled in the center of those flowers. I added in the dark green, all of the dark green yesterday. I finally had to put it away because my tension headache was starting to come back. With the dark fabric, it was after a few hours that I was just kind of feeling done. So I switched over to my Arctic Animal Sal. But anyway, there's that. And that's again another clay piece that I turned into a needle minder. Yeah, I told you all the things about that. Then, speaking of Arctic animals, I have more Arctic animals. So I'm working on the Arctic Animals 2 ornaments, and they look like this. And they are by the Little Stitcher. And this is on 32 count dwarf. I am currently working on the killer whale. So I think last time you saw it, all I had in were the white pieces. So I added all of this black. I need to fill in a little white on the tail and then do the, is it a dorsal fin? Dorsal fin? The top fin at the top. This one has a lot of white snowflakes kind of all over it. And then there's like a thick bar of white, kind of almost like a watery look to it. And then the dome of the, they look kind of like snow globes. So kind of the dome of the snow globe. I can show you a little bit, kind of like that. So there's that. So I have the scrim guard on. I don't use scrim guards very often, but I had a lot of that fabric right up under the clamp of my Lowry stand, and I didn't want to get it like oily or ruined. So I used my Grim Guard that I got from Garon Stitchery. And it's fantastically made. So if you ever can get a Grim Guard from Ronnie, he does a very, very good job. Very well made. So anyway, that is the Arctic Animals 2. And those will be ornaments for that same daughter. So she gets all the Arctic things this year. Next we have my new It Be Tuesday Sal. This one is by Petal Pusher. It's called While Away the Hours. And that's what it looks like. I started this around my birthday. I think it was the first day of spring I started this. And I am stitching it on 32 count French lace, which is a really weird fabric in the fact that a lot of things don't show up on it. So that's where I'm at. I added the bee and this flower. So it is kind of a green tint to it. So white doesn't show up very well on it. This cream doesn't show up very well on it. I've tried both. You can maybe, I think I talked about it last time I showed it. I don't like how these words aren't popping. And if I'm going to all that work, I want you to be able to read it really well. So I tried white for the last couple of letters. Didn't like it. Ripped those out. Still debating about that. I think I went and did some floss diving. So there's Week's Banana Pudding, which is a similar color to the called for, but just a little bit deeper. And so I think it will show up better because the lightest tone is the darkest tone in what's already there. So that's a possibility, but what I'm leaning towards is Classic Colorworks Baking Tin. And that's what that would look like. And I like kind of how that pops a little bit, but it's still kind of in that subtle light tones that are with all the others. Kind of those pastel colors. I did change this, the hours. I think it was supposed to be something like Bluebell or something, and I changed it to, I think it's Shamrock. Did I write it down? Not on my notes currently. I'm pretty sure it's Shamrock that I changed it to. I have it written down somewhere. But anyway, so I think that's the way I'm going. I think I'm going to go with Baking Tin and rip this out and restitch it. And I think I'll be much happier with it. And I will definitely be working on this tomorrow. So I'll be asking my girls. They are good color people, especially my middle daughter. She's very good with color. And she's the one that I tend to ask, like, what are your thoughts on? So anyway, she enjoys it as long as I go to her. She doesn't like when she has to come to me to do it. Next is Summer by the Cricut Collection. And this I started with Belinda Z, and we started this on June 1st. Mine was a super late night start. I think you remember I talked about that. So I finally pulled it back out last week. I had some time and I worked on it. This is where I'm at. This fabric is 32 count Picture This Plus Glacier. The needle minder again is from my daughter. She made that for me with my logo. I finished the petals on the flower and started the white of the M. This is another night that I ended up with a really bad headache, so didn't get as far as I would have liked. I am leaning towards leaving this checkerboard open. I like the idea of being able to see that checkerboard a little bit and how it pops with the fabric underneath it instead of this lighter color right here. I feel like you kind of lose that checkerboard feel. But I'm waiting to decide and to rip it out until I have those M's put in to kind of see how I'm feeling about it. But I pretty much, I think I've decided that I'm going to go back in and rip that out and leave it an open checkerboard. But I really love how this is starting to look. I like how it's popping off of this fabric. So anyway, Summer. This is one of those like finally stitching things that you've had kitted forever. That's one that I've had kitted for a really long time. Let's see. Last piece is Sweet Land of Liberty by Cherry Hill Stitchery. And I have a black and white copy of it, but you get the idea. And this is my one of my Whip Go calls for the month. Let me try and it just totally came off. It's fine. It's fine. And this is what it looks like. So I finished each land of and added in these little. So I think I had SWE, and so I finished that, added in those two flowers of and the L, and started on the I. So this one I won't be able to finish, but I might take it camping with me to get like a good chunk of it worked on, or I might take the hands-on design one so that I have a finish. I haven't super thought about it. This is on 32 count graceful gray, and it's a very, very, very pale gray. I don't know if you can see kind of the difference between the white of the board and then the gray. It's a very pale gray. You can kind of see the white, but not as well as I was hoping. But I bought this, kitted it up all during COVID. So I kind of just did what I had. I switched the blue and I switched one of the greens. This blue is Michael's Navy. I think it called for deep sea, which you couldn't get. And one of the greens, I think I changed it to grasshopper. It was moss and I changed it to grasshopper, or it was grasshopper and I changed it to moss. I don't remember. Anyway, I think it was the lighter green I switched. So there's that one. I think I can reach my Whip Go goal on this one with our trip and our camping trip and our Bryce Canyon trip. I'm not going to be able to get to that second piece, which is fine. It's still more than I would have worked on pieces otherwise. I think next year I might add in more pick an old whip in the season. Maybe instead of like, because I am more of a seasonal stitcher, so maybe then I'll get some of those others stitched. I can do maybe still have family members pick, but give them options of ones for the season. I don't know. I'm still kind of playing with it because I don't feel like I'm as successful at it as I would like to be. So still kind of playing with it. To go along with the Ippy Tuesday sale, I currently have all of my bee pieces out that are fully finished. So I'm about to switch over to Patriotic, probably this afternoon or tomorrow. And so I took a video earlier of, well, the light was pretty good in my front room. My front room has terrible lighting. So I took a video of those pieces. So I'm going to insert that here. Okay, we are upstairs in my front room, and I wanted to show you my bee setup to celebrate It Be Tuesday sale. This is what it currently looks like. I am about to take this down for Independence Day. This one is Busy Bee Notes by Shepherd's Bush, and it's on the called for fabric. It's like French country mocha latte something, you know, that one that everybody has a hard time saying. So this is with all the called for overdyed flosses. I have found with Shepherd's Bush that I tend to be happier with the final result if I just buy all of the flosses that they recommend. I found that if I try to do some DMC, it doesn't always turn out as well, just because there's not always a close match. But that's this piece. Then we come up here. This is a Jardin Privé piece. It's called Mon Petit Jardin Secret or something like that. It's My Sweet Secret Garden, as you can read. It does include an English version in the chart, even though it only looks like it's in French. It is charted with a floss that is no longer available, like a overdyed floss that's been discontinued. So there is a DMC conversion. Unfortunately, the DMC conversion does not look anything like the cover photo. So I did my own conversion. If I were to do it again, I would change these yellowy green leaves to more of a true green. But it's a really pretty piece. It's on 32 count fabric that I dyed myself to look like a sky. And it's really pretty. That dragonfly has some sparkle to it. You can maybe see right above my finger. And it has, I think it's called couching or something, where it's actually kind of a twisted style stitch. It was a really interesting stitch to do. Now we come over here. I'll put down that for... This is honey that came from my husband's honey, or his bees. So it's backyard honey. This is Friendship Garden by Heart and Hand. This is a conversion that my Ella Ness, that has since closed, created. They kind of lightened up the colors a little bit, made it a little bit brighter, and I really loved it when I saw that they did that. And they did theirs on Country Mocha Ada, which is much lighter than like the linen and even the even weave, but they only had the linen. So I did it on Country Ivory or something like that. Anyway, it turned out really cute. It's a flat fold. You can kind of see the back there. This is, these two actually, it's a three-piece. I'll show you the third one in just a second. It's Hive and Home by Shepherd's Bush. These I did all of the DMC for, and I started these when my husband first got his bees. So they are stitched on 28 count. Oh, what is it? Monaco. That's what I'm trying to say. And this is another piece to that. And then this one is I'll Be There by Puntini. It includes these two buttons. Her bee buttons are amazing. By far my favorite bee button I've seen. Again, this was her own floss. The hand-dyed floss that's a European company. So I converted it to a Weeks floss. This is Weeks Camilla, and it actually matches the button perfectly. So if you have that chart, try Weeks Camilla. And then the blue is Weeks Sky, which is beautiful. This is the last piece of the Hive and Home by Shepherd's Bush. And it's a taller pillow, and I sewed a little bee button on my bow. again on that 28 count Monaco. This tray was from Hobby Lobby. It's actually a fall piece. I think it says like give thanks or something on the other side, but I turned it around and I put styrofoam in the bottom. In the fall I cover it with leaves. I just haven't gotten some summer stuff. I threw away my ivy when we repainted and I wish I'd kept some of it. This piece is Kind Words by Primrose Cottage, and it's on antique white, so it's not white, but it's super cute. And I got this, it was a cork frame from Joann's, and I cut out the cork and traced it and cut out a, like, not foam core, mat board, covered it, glued it on, and then put this piece on top, so you can kind of see from the back that that's the mat board. And it turned out so nice. I really was happy with that. So that's all of my fully finished bee pieces and how they are currently displayed this year. And then I have a couple others that I need to fully finish that are done. So back to the other video. So I hope you liked all of those bee pieces. If you go back in my Instagram feed to find those pieces, I do have like all the fabric listed. I know I didn't mention, I think it's the Puntini piece. It's on light mocha. And I think that's the only one I didn't mention what color the fabric was, but all of my floss conversions, all of my fabric, it's all listed in my Instagram feed if you go back and check. So what have I purchased? One thing. I'm going to show you three things just because they kind of all go together. I have an order placed with Abby at Top Knot, but it's a pre-order, so she has to wait till she gets those in to send it to me, and I'll show you those when they come in. But in the meantime, I will show you what I got. So while we were in Bryce Canyon, I got a pin, and this is a pin of one of the hikes that, well, there's the main hike that we did. So it goes from like Sunset Point to Sunrise. I don't know. One's point, one's something. Anyway, sunrise and sunset, you can hike down, go through what they call the Queen's Garden, and then hike back up. It's part of the Navajo Loop Trail. It says it on the back of this. But we went down a very steep switchback area called Wall Street. And so this is a pin of Wall Street. At the bottom of Wall Street, there is these Douglas fir trees, the two, and it says that they're more than 400 years old, and it's beautiful. Like they're just these huge towering pines there. And my plan is to do what I did last time we went. I bought this pin and I turned it into a needle minder. So this is a needle minder. And I just broke off the pin part off of the back and glued on a magnet. And I tend to do that for our different vacation spots that we go to that have pins. So I have, let me see, I have one from Volcano National Park. I have this one from Bryce, and I have one from the Hoover Dam when I went to Boulder City to visit my friend. So this will be another Bryce Canyon one. I also have a pineapple one from Hawaii that I did the same thing with. So that is my only Stitchy related purchase that I have to show you. But since we're on the Bryce Canyon, I collect ornaments when we go on vacations. And so this is my Bryce Canyon ornament. This is one of my favorite spots. It's one of the arches that it's super easy to see. You just drive all the way up Bryce Canyon, like all the way to the top. And then as you're coming down, there's a bunch of pullouts that you can stop at and pull out and look over. And this is one of the little pullouts that you just walk out and it's like right there. So this is one of it in the winter, which I think last time we went, there was a little bit of snow. We went during spring break, which is typically the first week in April. And I think there was just a tiny bit of snow. So that's kind of what it reminded me of, but I really liked that. And then we did buy a magnet for our fridge. We also tend to buy magnets at the national parks or state parks that we go to. And this time, because we've already been, this time we bought a night sky one because we've got to do the night sky stuff. But then my personal purchase was this t-shirt. And it says, "Who do you love?" Because those rock formations are called hoodoos. So who do you love? And this is one of the very popular hoodoos there. I think it's called Thor's Hammer. So that's one of the really popular ones. You can see it when you do that Navajo Loop Trail and go through Queen's Garden. Queen's Garden is basically the bottom section of that trail. So if you are going to Bryce Canyon, having hiked that trail twice, what I would recommend, if you go in a time frame that Wall Street is open, it's not open year round, I would walk down Wall Street. It's a lot of switchbacks like this, but they're not as steep as some. I would even say you could walk up Wall Street pretty easily. We went down Wall Street and came up Sunrise Point, and that was much easier than last time we went down Sunrise and walked up Sunset. And Sunset has some really steep switchbacks, and we were on a time lane. That's because we were supposed to go horseback riding, and we had to be out by a certain time, and so we were trying to book it up those switchbacks at Sunset and Point, and it was killer. But they connect, and then you can walk along the rim on a sidewalk along the rim to the parking lot, to the next parking lot over, essentially, is kind of what it is. So it is a really big loop, but it's beautiful. I highly recommend going if you haven't. So plans. I mentioned I'm going camping. I for sure will be taking the Curious Jellyfish, and I will be taking one of my patriotic pieces for sure. I haven't decided which ones. Probably hands-on design because it'll be nice and sunny, so I'll be able to see really well. And it's a really fast stitch. All I have left on that are these flowers right up here at the top and some back stitching. So that's probably what I'll be taking. I will be focusing on this week definitely summer and patriotic pieces, and probably next week mostly summer and patriotic pieces. In the United States, it's our Independence Day on July 4th. So that's definitely coming up really quickly. I am starting for a little bit. I'm not sure how long it'll last. Probably most of July, I will be doing a rotation. I've kind of started it. I am thinking Sunday, I will stitch on one of my nativity ornaments. Monday, I will stitch on a Christmas piece, probably an ornament for now. We'll see how, if I get those 2 ornaments done. If I do, then I'll probably pull out a gingerbread one ornament. Right now, Tuesdays are still going to be bee pieces. I have a lot of bee pieces. Maybe next video, depending on how long, I will pull out some of my bee patterns that I have. Wednesday will be summer. I don't know. That's another thing I could take camping. I could take my Tiny Modernist summer piece. It's about half done, so it would come together. It's a lot of big chunks of color too, so that would be an easy one to take camping, and it's small. I don't know, that's a possibility. So I don't know if it will be the Cricut Collection summer or if it'll be that summer piece. And then Thursday will be my Sal. So my Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. If I finish Arctic Animal, then I want to go back and work on the Castle Homecoming and get some good progress on that. Friday will be the Jellyfish or whatever other baby ocean piece, so that I'm working on that. Friday tends to be my biggest stitch day. My husband plays games with his brother-in-law and nephew, and actually now his brother, and most of the night. So that's pretty much an all stitching night, free for all. And then Saturday, patriotic piece. So I might throw in the American Welcome. I really want to get back to that. The flosses on that one are beautiful. So I would like to see how some more of those flosses look. So that's kind of what I'm going to try. I want to start touching a little bit more and trying a rotation. I haven't been super successful with rotations, partly because I didn't have enough Q snaps. I finally have enough Q snaps that I can rotate things, and realizing that it's okay if I stitch on something for an hour and then switch out. Like I did yesterday. I think in the past I would have just been done for the day, but I switched it to the Arctic Animal cell after a couple hours on my patriotic piece because it was a little easier on my eyes, less tension. So realizing that an hour of stitching on something is better than nothing, and hey, maybe I'm not super excited about what WIPGO numbers get pulled, but I can stitch on it for an hour and put it away and then work on something else. So that's kind of what I'm thinking I'll probably do. I think what I'll do is finish. I think I'll work on the tree for my sister-in-law and make that be my focus ornament. Because my daughter has 2 ornaments that are finished, plus a whole entire stitch along. So I think she'll be okay with just 2 ornaments. And where I really for sure want to get that ornament done for my sister-in-law, I have a friend that's having a birthday that I'd like to stitch her something. Not necessarily for it to be done for her birthday, but it's a piece that I've been wanting to stitch for her for a while. So I don't know. There might be a start or 2 in there. We'll see. But that's what basically my plans are to not have a plan. It's usually what it goes. I have a plan and then it changes. So we'll see. We'll see. Anyway, thanks for joining me. It's good to be back so quickly, and I will talk to you